complete picture what I'm going to discuss in our sessions, what topics I'm going to cover. And if you want to become a good programmer in .NET, what things need to be learned. Okay, entire the things we'll discuss in this session. So first of all, what is .NET? What is .NET? Okay, yes, .NET is a framework tool. .NET is a framework tool which is used to develop different types of applications. Yes, .NET is a framework tool which is used to develop different types of applications. And .NET is the product of Microsoft. .NET is the product of Microsoft. Yes, .NET completely designed and developed by Microsoft company only. So .NET is the product of Microsoft, sir. Okay, yes. And next, .NET was announced by Bill Gates in the year of 2000. The first version of .NET was released in the year of 2002. From 2002 till 2021, there are a lot of versions of .NET frameworks and a lot of versions of Visual Studio editors also there. I'll explain you what editors are required to write programming part. So in this session only. So .NET is a framework tool which is used to develop different types of application, and .NET is the product of Microsoft, and .NET was announced by Bill Gates in the year of 2000, and the first version of .NET was released in the year of 2002. And some programmers will call it as .NET stands for Network Enabled Technology or else Network Enterprise Technology. But according to Microsoft, there was no abbreviation for .NET. Okay, there is no abbreviation for .NET. So only the programmers will call it as Network Enabled Technology. Next, in this .NET framework, so what we are going to learn. So to become a good programmer in .NET, I strongly recommend to learn these things. First one is at least one programming language you need to learn in .NET framework. That is, I recommend strongly C#.NET. Yes, .NET supports lot of programming languages, sir. Okay, around 60 plus languages will support. But in that, I'm just choosing C#.NET because of C#.NET is most powerful programming language. C#.NET is most powerful programming language compared to other languages. So to become a .NET developer, I strongly recommend these things: C#.NET, then after ASP.NET, then after SQL Server, then along with ADV.NET. .NET is a framework tool. Okay, yes, compulsory .NET framework is required if you want to design and develop any type of application. In this framework tool, we are going to learn these things. Okay, so as a .NET developer, you must and should aware of these four important things. One is C#.NET, ASP.NET, SQL Server, and ADV.NET. What is C#.NET? Yes, here C#.NET is a programming language. Yes, you will become a .NET programmer, no? So that's what you should have knowledge and strong knowledge of C#.NET. C#.NET is a programming language. Generally, programming language is used for what purpose? Which is used to write coding part or application, coding part or logic part for application development. Application development purpose, we need some coding part. That coding part, how we can write using a programming language called C#.NET. Why C# only? Why not other programming languages? Because it's a most powerful programming language and it's purely object oriented and functional oriented any requirement you can able to fulfill using this programming language. That's what I'm choosing C#.NET as a programming language. Next, coming to the thing, ASP.NET. So what is ASP.NET? ASP stands for Active Server Page. Active Server Page. Is this programming language? No. ASP.NET is not a programming language. ASP.NET is not a programming language. What is this? It's a technology. ASP.NET is a technology, but moreover, this is called web technology or server-side technology. Web technology or server-side technology. Using ASP.NET, like web technologies or server-side technology, what we can do? Yes, we are going to do design of web page or websites. We will do design of web pages or websites. Only design we can do using ASP.NET. But even though if we design web pages or websites using ASP.NET web technology, but behind the scenes, complete logic code should be written using programming language called C# only. It's compulsory. For example, you just try to understand. This is my user interface. Small user interface I'm preparing. This is my user interface. User interface means just a web page where user can interact. So here I'm preparing my login form, username and password, and I'm just taking text boxes here. Text boxes. This is text box for username and password. Then after I need to take some button control like submit or login. This is login form I just prepared. How I'm preparing this one? Using ASP.NET. ASP.NET is for design. That's what I'm using this design purpose is ASP.NET technology, web technology, like HTML only. Yes. But when we prepare this user interface using ASP.NET technology, behind the scenes, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, HTML, CSS style sheets will be created automatically. If you want to do, you can do customization also. No problem at all. And you can write JavaScript functionality for validations or dynamic web page, all those things. But JavaScript is not required. By default, ASP.NET web pages are dynamic pages only. Even we can make it as static also, only with plain HTML. So this is advanced technology ASP.NET. So no need to learn complete HTML, CSS, JavaScript and all. Okay, by default, it will be raised the tags internally. If you want to do customization of the design, yes, we can do it for modification in the source part of the ASP.NET web page. That's not a big deal. And even though we prepared this ASP.NET web page, this design using ASP.NET, but under this login button control, you have to write a logic part, compulsory. What purpose you should write logic part? When we enter username and password, if it is correct or not, as soon as when we click on login button, it has to interact with what? Database. This is called database. So database is nothing but what? Storage area. Yes, database is nothing but storage area. How to prepare a database design and all? By using SQL Server. This is structured query language. This is for purely database design. SQL Server. Why we use SQL Server only? Why not others? Because the reason is SQL Server is a product of Microsoft. Most of the .NET applications will recommend strongly their backend application is SQL Server. So SQL Server is purely for database creation, database design. For storage area purpose, we use this SQL Server. So as soon as when we click on this login button, so it has to interact with the database for cross verifying user ID and password in the database user list. If it is correct, then it will allow to log into web page, or else it won't allow. It will show message clearly invalid username and password. This kind of things we have to do. But under this login button, we have to write code what? C#.NET logic code only. C#.NET. This is for logic code. Yes. Business logic code we should write using C#.NET. C#.NET is for coding. ASP.NET is for designing. Okay. And SQL Server is for database storage. So this we can call it as This combination ASP.NET with C Sharp, this combination we can call it as front-end application. Front-end application. Yes, front-end application. Okay, yes, front-end application. But this SQL Server database is back-end application. Back-end application or database storage. Yes, in the context of this C Sharp with ASP.NET, backend is C Sharp code also we can call it as. Yes, sir. Backend code is C Sharp code, because code cannot be seen to everybody. Code cannot be viewed to everyone. So we will see only the design. This is ASP.NET is a front-end design like user interface. Behind the scenes, C Sharp.NET logic code. This also we can call it as backend code for ASP.NET. But complete backend application is database. This is backend application. Backend application. Backend application where user can store the data or end user data, customer information where we can store. That application is called backend application. Okay, that application is called backend application. No, sir. Why? Mr. Chandragiri Parthasarathi, please check your mic settings. I think rest of them are getting my voice. Okay, yes, I am noticing that you have not at all switch on your mic. That's what you are not getting voice. Please do it. Front-end application and back-end application. But here, front-end application and back-end application, SQL Server is for database creation or database design, database design purpose. And in reality, every application you can take, front-end application needs to interact with back-end application for storage. And even for retrieval, some information purpose, front-end need to be interact with back-end. For example, Gmail, Facebook, Insta, Flipkart, Amazon, so many things are there, web applications. And for purchasing a product from Flipkart, so first of all, it will ask you to log in. And that login details you have to give. And that login details should cross-verify its backend application database, Flipkart database list. If it is correct, then it will allow you to proceed steps to purchase the product. So that is front end to back end application clearly will be interact. But sometimes you forgot password or user ID or mail ID something. Then you can send request to backend. Backend onwards, you should read username and password. Okay, whatever the password, old password, to your mail or phone number. So you can retrieve that reading process that is. So retrieval process at storage purpose, compulsory front-end application and back-end application coordination is important. But that interaction, how we can do? Yes, how we can do, sir? Yes, that interaction we can do using ADV.NET. Okay, it's like Jdbc concept, which are related to Java developers. How Java people will use Jdbc. As a .NET programmers, we should use ADV.NET. ADV.NET stands for ActiveX Data Object. Yes. What is ADV.NET means? ADV.NET is a native driver. Yes, native driver. Is this compulsory required to install native driver software? No need, sir. As soon as when we install Visual Studio software, that is editor tool, along with native driver also will come. So no need to install explicitly any ADV.NET drivers. It's a driver software. This driver software, ADV.NET software, can be helpful to communicate from front-end application to back-end application. So ADV.NET I'm speaking here. ADV.NET stands for ActiveX Data Object, we can say that, ADV.NET. This is a communication interface also we can call it as, or else native driver also we can call it as. So request and response will be processed through native driver only. Request and response. At the same time, database onwards you are going to get response to front end, then both required with ADV.NET. Without ADV.NET, you cannot communicate from front end application to back end application, sir. Okay, so this is purpose of each and every subject which are related to .NET. So to become a good programmer in .NET, not only C#.NET is enough. Along with C#.NET programming language, at least you should have a knowledge of one programming language, that is C#. So it is a programming language which is used to write coding part for application development. and along with ASP.NET knowledge is required. So ASP.NET is not a programming language. It's just a web technology or server-side technology like HTML to design web pages or websites. So it stands for Active Server Page, we can say that. And SQL Server is a database concept. Database design purpose, SQL Server is a structured query language. And why don't we go for Oracle or MySQL or PureSQL or anything? Yes, we can do it. Undoubtedly, .NET applications will be interact with any type of database, clearly, no doubt at all. But most of the people will recommend, in reality, SQL Server database will recommend for .NET applications. It doesn't mean that .NET will not support to interact with other database like Oracle, MySQL, or MongoDB or something. Yes, we can literally can interact with any database, no issues at all. But majority of the applications, even once if you settle in .NET programmer as a .NET programmer, they'll ask mostly SQL Server queries to write. Okay, how we can send the data to the database? You should aware of that SQL queries compulsory. Okay, so we will teach in this session SQL Server, not only basic queries, complete SQL Server developer programs, developer topics, complete SQL Server, not only basics of SQL Server for your kind information. And ADO.NET is just for communication interface from front-end application to back-end application. So this is very clear picture, I hope so. ASP.NET is for design, C#.NET is for logic, database purpose SQL Server, and communication from front-end to back-end application, ADO.NET. Okay, just let's compare with Java. Java persons will use Jdbc or servlets for design, or else any other frameworks also. And they'll use Java programming language logic code, and they'll use Oracle database, and front-end to back-end communication, they'll use Jdbc or something. Okay, yes, I don't know much more about Java. This much I know that. So only this is the .NET scenario actually. To become a good programmer in .NET, I strongly recommend to learn these things. But so .NET is a framework only. Okay, Microsoft people are giving us to develop any applications, different applications using this framework tool. So what is .NET means? You should say .NET is just framework tool. Using this framework, we can develop different applications. To develop different application, we need a strong knowledge on these things, 4 things. At least you should be aware of one programming language like C#. And moreover, here, so C#.NET complete course, ASP.NET complete course, web designing, website development, okay, all the techniques, complete techniques will teach you, and SQL Server complete course, ADO.NET along with. ADO.NET is a part of this course only. In this batch, okay, so I will cover all these things. For me, it will take 2.5 months time. 2 months, 15 days required, compulsory. Below that, I can't finish. If you have any time issue, sir, I need only 1 month of time. So I need to finish 1 month of time. I can't. And no one can. No one can do this. 1 month. It's not a simple thing, .NET learning process. It's a huge syllabus is there. So we will not teach. Even 2 months, 15 days also very less. But I have my plan properly, because how I'll teach, how I'll cover this 2 months, 15 days, all these things. I'll tell you. So for every Monday to Thursday, okay, Monday to Thursday, 4 days week, C#.NET topics will cover. And every weekend, Friday and Saturday, same timing only. Timing will not be changed. Same timing. SQL Server I'll start. Why? Because SQL Server concepts also, which is important to us. Because in the middle of C#.NET, even in the middle of ASP.NET, we will communicate from front-end application to back-end application. For that purpose, you need at least basic of SQL queries. That's what I'll start beginning only. Even initially, first week may not be happen, but second week onwards, my plan is, but 4 days, Monday to Thursday, C#.NET sessions will continue, and every Friday and Saturday, so SQL Server topics I'll cover. I'll go through parallelly C# as well as SQL Server. In the middle, ADO.NET only will cover, because just to communication purpose only we use this native driver. It's not a big deal. Okay. Next, after completion of this C# SQL with ADO.NET, then finally we'll start with ASP.NET. Okay, once I start with ASP.NET complete course we will teach. Okay, how we can prepare web pages and websites, server side things. This is completely ASP.NET technical things will teach you. But why I'll start ASP.NET later? Why don't we go for parallel means? Before going to continue ASP.NET, I strongly suggest you to get strong knowledge on C#.NET, because C#.NET logic only we will write for ASP.NET web pages. Without knowing a knowledge of C#.NET, we can't go for ASP.NET. There is interlink will be there. But SQL Server at any point of time you can learn it, no issues at all. Okay, so it's not related to any other things. SQL Server happily you can learn at any point of time because it's completely database kind of thing. So SQL Server also not only basics are I'll cover, complete syllabus of SQL Server developer concepts I'll cover, like joins, views, triggers, indexers, stored procedures, functions, okay, temporary tables, all database commands, complete syllabus. And even you can try to get a job on SQL Server developer also after completion of your course. Okay, and every session is going to be on record, sir. Even this session also is going to be recording now. And after completion of session, after completion of your class, and 1 hour after or 2 hour after, then you will get same recorded video to your Google Drive along with soft copy of material. Yes, I have a lot of a complete clear cut material I prepare. So C#.NET, ASP.NET, SQL and ADV.NET complete material you will receive. I'll show you just what is the basic material here which I prepared for you. So I will not follow this material in the class. I'll not open any document. I'll go through my own coding style, but just for understanding purpose, I'm opening this. Just look at here. This is C#.NET material which I prepared. This material prepared by me only while teaching these classes only previously. Okay, yes. So that's what I am sharing same thing to everyone, okay, because for easy way to access the code and all. This is C#.NET material part 1. Part 1 means this is completely one of the application called console application. Everything will be there from the beginning to ending. Loops concept, while loop, for loop, nested for loop, okay, a complete arrays and object oriented programming, complete encapsulation, polymorphism, abstraction. Just I am showing this. Everything will be there here, which I have written clearly step by step. This is part 1 of C#. And when it comes to part 2, which I cover in this Windows Forms application. Yes, how to prepare GUI application like graphical user interface application, clear application development with controls and all, everything I'll keep. This is what C# material part 2. And when it comes to ASP.NET also, session wise clearly I prepare this material. Session 1, introduction to web development, and even screenshots also I have added clearly. Every step is very clear. Once if you see this material, undoubtedly you never get confused in such a way that I prepared the material clearly. So these topics step by step I prepare, and where we should go and what we should do also in the web development steps also have given clearly. All steps I mentioned through in documentation. Look at here. These are the steps, step by step. Create a new web page with the name something. Already I mentioned clearly with my own statements. So you have to follow while practicing this all. These are all ASP.NET material. And along with SQL Server material also I prepared completely. This is SQL Server. Everything is there, fine. And only the thing is we have to continue with these topics. C#.NET, ASP.NET, SQL Server and ADV.NET. And one more thing, to start this coding like C# and ASP and SQL and ADV.NET, anything, any prerequisite? No, not at all. Even if you don't know about C or C++ or any basic idea also, you can happily come and learn from the beginning onwards, from the scratch. No need to worry about that. No need to get an idea about any C language basics. If you have already done, it's no issues at all. It's not a problem. So these things I'm going to cover here. Okay. Yes. Next, another thing is we'll enter into more discussion on .NET. .NET framework is there, but what is .NET framework? What we can say .NET framework means what? It's a framework is nothing but it's a collection of libraries. Libraries means what? Class libraries. As soon as when we download and install .NET Framework software, you will be able to get a lot of predefined libraries. Predefined class libraries means already Microsoft developers has written some lots of stuff in that predefined library. And once you will get libraries, you have to utilize that libraries, and then we can write code through that library using that libraries only. Sir. Yes. So I'm taking the question from, we can use JavaScript HTML for developing web pages. Why we need to learn ASP.NET? Because it's a advanced tool. Why we need to learn ASP.NET means what? See, you can imagine that you can develop web pages HTML for developing web pages, but how much time you will take to develop HTML? If imagine that if I'm going to prepare this user interface in HTML, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time I need to spend for my writing my script, and even validation purpose I need to write some JavaScript code. Again, 10 minutes of time I need to spend on this. But in .NET, within one click you can able to prepare design, and 2 minutes I can able to write this code. So that's what faster rate of development, and look and feel also very good looking compared to HTML and all, because it's taking a lot of time delay process when you go for purely HTML and web pages. And even though if you are not satisfying after providing some uh, built-in templates in ASP.NET, if you want to do still customization, then you can go for editing your customized JavaScript options and HTML tags. You can do editing also with applying effective CSS styles also. But I am saying that the benefit of ASP.NET is that only. Okay, so people no need to write what we can say uh, static code completely from the beginning to ending. And here as user friendly design will be there. You just drag the controls and drop it onto your web page, and whenever you drag it and drop into your web page, behind the scenes automatically HTML tags, CSS style sheets will be applied when we add some colors. So 80-90% of work has been done. You need not to do. You have a facility to use it. Ready-made things are there. Then why we should go for HTML and web pages? Imagine that, for saving lot of time. And later, if you want to do still modification, you can do it now. No problem. If you have enough time, go with HTML, CSS by your own style of writing code. You can prepare the design happily, relaxedly, and write the logic. It will take 3 hours. But I don't want to spend 3 hours time. Within half an hour, I need to prepare user interface and connect it to database and bring the data and validate and log in. That's it. That's what ASP.NET come into the picture. ASP.NET is a powerful web development technique. And ASP.NET is a combination of technologies. Behind the scenes, HTML code, CSS code will be generated according to style you selected with the drag and drop options. So they are having a lot of built-in options. In ASP.NET, every control is having built-in options. You have to, Microsoft people are providing clear-cut options to the developer. So they should select the options. Whatever you select the options, behind the scenes, the code is generating. Same code, HTML and CSS. Even if you write manually, same thing you have to write. Even if you take instantly, that same thing only will be generated. That is the advantage. Instant usage. No need to develop from the beginning. Waste of time, no? So that's what ASP.NET came into the picture. And even so many advanced things also there. Now we are thinking about ASP.NET. So a lot of technique things are there, web development techniques. I'm not going to web development techniques like Ajax will be there, and Angular 10 is there, and React JS is there, Node.js is there. A lot of things are there. Why? Because advanced things. These are all coming from, derived from JavaScript only. But JavaScript is completely old. So you want to do customization, you can use by your own way, your own scripting. But these are the extensive libraries of JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap, React.js, AngularJS. These are all are JavaScript extensive libraries only. Then they can use libraries instantly for making their web application look and feel is rich and better options, some advanced options for. So same thing we are doing in ASP.NET. Yes, yes, yeah. So next another thing is why what is .NET frameworks are here? .NET framework is a class libraries, collection of class libraries. Collection of class library means yes, Microsoft people are providing group of libraries built-in libraries. Once we install .NET Framework software, you will get that plenty of libraries. And once you utilize that libraries in your application development area, then you will save a lot of time, because maximum 60-70% of code generation through libraries only will come. Only your, as a .NET programmer, your contribution is very less, and you can write simple code and you can extend your application development. That is the advantage of .NET here. Maximum code will come from Microsoft people only. They are giving in the form of libraries only, and you have to know as a .NET developer how to reuse that, how to utilize in your application according to your application. That things, that purpose only we are going to learn .NET. Okay, yes. So here code is less and operation is same. And compared to Java, okay, I don't want to compare with Java, because of Java is perfect, undoubtedly. So Java is strong, and but only the thing is Java is time-taking process, but .NET is not like that. Instantly we can develop. So maximum high-level applications and most of the medium range applications in the market which are running currently, that based on Java or .NET only. So .NET and Java almost all similar. Both are rapid application development technologies in real-time world. Only the thing is Java, it will be time-taking process. But I'm not saying it's not good. It's perfectly, undoubtedly, it's perfectly Java applications also best choice in real-time industry. But .NET means we can develop very easily instead of spending lot of time. Okay, so we can able to finish application development quickly. That is the main advantage here. And even there are all advanced built-in tools are available in .NET. From Microsoft, advanced built-in tools are there. So that's the reason using that advanced built-in tools, we can develop easily application. So instead of spending a lot of time without confusion, straightforward techniques are there here. So .NET framework is compulsory required, sir. So without .NET framework, there is no .NET. So .NET framework through only we can use these all techniques: C#, ASP.NET, SQL Server, and ADV.NET. As soon as when we install .NET framework software, all C#.NET related libraries, ASP.NET libraries, SQL Server libraries with ADV.NET libraries will come. Using that libraries only, we can fulfill our requirement. Okay, yes. So using .NET, what kind of application generally we can design and develop? Yes, these are the applications area. What kind of applications we can develop using .NET framework? So let's try to show you the application environment. This is the application area where we can use exactly just applications. What kind of applications? These are the applications. Console application. Okay, I have list of applications. Just wait. I'll write it otherwise. Yes, console application. It's completely CUI based. Character user interface or command user interface. Windows Forms application. This is completely GUI based, graphical user interface. And web application, it's purely GUI. But web application and these application difference is what? These are standalone applications. Are console applications. Windows Forms applications are standalone application, means desktop applications. The application where we install, there only it will be run. These are standalone. These are not online applications or distributed application. But when it comes to web applications using ASP.NET, we can create distributed or online applications. Websites we can create. Once we host these web applications on server through many people can able to access. That is distributed application. Not only these three applications, lot of application development is possible using .NET. Network based applications we can develop. Gaming based applications we can develop. And business applications we can develop. Windows services we can develop. Web services we can develop. WPF, Windows Presentation Foundation, WCF, Windows Communication Foundation, and moreover MVC, Model View Controller. Yes, I strongly recommend to learn MVC also, but I will not teach MVC. After completion of this basic course like ASP.NET, you can learn MVC also for getting job. So because ASP.NET MVC is most popular nowadays, Model View Controller that is. MVC only required to learn if it is required for your job. I strongly recommend to learn Advanced.NET MVC, and remaining things not required. Don't waste your time and all. If it is required, you can learn, otherwise ignore it. There are a lot of things are there in advanced level, language integrated query, WCF, WPF, so many things are there. But in that, out of all that, I can strongly recommend MVC only after completion of ASP only. Without getting knowledge of ASP.NET, don't go for MVC, because people will think that directly if you go for MVC, will I get a job? No, that is ASP.NET MVC. You should you should have the strong knowledge of ASP.NET. Then only I can recommend to learn MVC later. That is model view controller. We can say that 3-layer division will be there to develop in such a way that for security reason and reusability reason, for that MVC applications are strongly recommended. And this is application area. But what softwares are required to write coding part using .NET means? Yes, you can see .NET Framework and Visual Studio. What is Visual Studio? Visual Studio is just an editor tool, sir. How Java people will use NetBeans, Eclipse, Edit Plus editor tools, same like .NET people will use Visual Studio. Visual Studio is just an editor tool which is used to write and edit coding part for application development. It also called as integrated development environment. It is just editor software. And as I said, .NET Framework was designed and developed by Microsoft. First version of .NET was released in the year of 2002, and that version name called 1.0. So 1.0, and at the time Microsoft has given VS, Visual Studio. This is Visual Studio version. Later 1.1 VS 2003, 2.0 VS 2005, and then 3.0 not applicable. At the time of 3.0 .NET Framework version, Microsoft has not released any Visual Studio version. That's what not applicable. And 3.5 Visual Studio 2008, 4.0 2010, 4.5 2012, 4.6 2015. These are all versions are actually. And latest version is 4.7.2 VS 2019, 1 and 2 VS 2019. This is I'm going to discuss Visual Studio 2019 software, and also along with the .NET Framework 4.7.2 VS 2019. And I strongly recommend to install SQL Server 2019 also. Yes. So because we are going to deal with the database operations, no? So every time, so SQL Server also required. And that for this installation, SQL Server 2019 as well as VS 2019 purpose, I strongly recommend to maintain in your computer 64-bit Windows operating system, and 2 or more GB RAM is required, and the hard disk space is 20 GB required. 20 GB. Yes, 20 GB is required. 20 GB hard disk space is required for installing this VS 2019 as well as SQL Server 2019. Sir. So these are the requirements which you want to install a Visual Studio as well as SQL Server 2019 software. These two softwares are enough to maintain complete .NET applications. Sir. One is SQL Server 2019, another one is Visual Studio 2019. You don't worry about this software, how to download and install freely from Microsoft official website. I'll tell you clearly step by step in tomorrow's session. Okay. So this is just a basic introduction what we discuss in this case. What is .NET and what kind of applications we can develop using .NET, and what are the things I'm going to cover in these sessions, how much time it will take, minimum 2.5 months is required. And every session is going to be recorded. Same recorded video I'll upload to in your Google Drive, and material also I'll send clear cut material which I shown just now, C#, ASP SQL with ADV.NET, everything step by step. Okay, so that's all for now from my side. Do you have any questions? And feel free to ask me. We'll continue in tomorrow's session from here where I stop. From there I'll continue the session. Okay, so do you have any questions? Please ask in the chat box, or else you can open up your mic and speak with me now. Any questions? Yeah, time is exactly same time, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. every day. Okay, tomorrow onwards we'll continue that 6 p.m. to, yes, yes. No, no, no. I will never change the time. Okay, it's not possible for me at all because before this class I have a session. After this class I have a session. How I can change? It's not. Even if you ask forcefully to change the time, also I will not do it because it's not possible for me. I won't change. If anybody wants to come, then I will ask them to come in your time only. I will not ask you to join in other time. Okay, don't worry about time. I'll take care of that. Any questions, sir? Yes. So those who are interested, okay, please attend demos tomorrow and day after tomorrow also. No issues at all. Don't feel so. This is about complete demonstration only. It is regular session only here. Okay, I'll start regularly from here onwards. Yes. Then you can contact our Durga Soft people for registration or joining. As soon as possible, you can finish that formalities. Once you'll finish that, I'll get mails from Durga Soft. Once I'll get mails, and I'm going to start share my videos and materials to you. Okay. For more details, you can contact the Durga Soft admin people. Even they'll send a mail to you. You can revert back to them. So have a nice time. Thank you. See you tomorrow at same on this link, same link on same link. See you tomorrow at same time. Okay? Yeah. We'll continue from here onwards. Okay.